Iraq people have begun a long-lasting protest since January 2011 due to poor national conditions, government's corruption problem, poor national security, and public service as well as high unemployment rate. In this video, our group is going to talk about four major issues. The reason why citizens choose to revolt, the government's responses, the social media used during the protest, and human rights in this protest. I will talk about question 1 and 4, while Robin is going to talk about question 2 and 3. After 2003 Iraq War, the economy and industry declined rapidly. In the same times, the citizens who tolerated the corruption of new coalition government, suffered from poor national security and poor public service. The high rate of unemployment also eroded the national confidence, and the whole country really falls into hopeless stress. Therefore, at this critical moment, several of the citizens stepped forward to against government by hold a protest on 12 February. The majority of tension between the government and the citizens are corruption and poor public service. According to Transparency International report, Iraq was ranked the fourth most corrupt country in the world, with a score of 1.5, only 0.4 higher than the most corrupt country, Somalia. Two facts can explain the corruption in Iraq. The first one is Maliki, the new Prime Minister of Iraq, has placed friends and family members in key positions to benefit himself and protect his power. For instance, he appointed his son, Ahmed Maliki, as an assistant to the director of the Prime Minister's office. A second aspect of corruption in Iraq is widespread problem of fake documents being used to apply government jobs. Fake academic degrees and similar forged documents have become a common sight in the country since the 2003 American-led invasion. The bogus papers can easily be purchased on the black market, with a high school diploma costing around $1,500 and $7,000 for a PhD. Inadequate public service, including water, electricity, and housing, has likewise been a common problem and is closely linked with a massive amount of corruption. Inadequate provision of basic service cannot be blamed on a lack of funding. Rather, billions of dollars have been stolen or wasted on fictitious contracts and non-existing projects, especially in the Ministry of Electricity.
So basically, we could divide government's responses towards protesters into two parts. One is some changes government made actively to meet protesters' demands. Another is government's repressive action towards activists. Since the protests began, government has made some major changes aiming to defuse popular unrest. In February 2011, Prime Minister al-Maliki announced that he would cut his salary in half to extinguish public dissatisfaction about government service. It is estimated that Mr. al-Maliki's salary was about $350,000 a year. He also suggests the president and two vice presidents to reduce their pay, but they turned it down. On February 27, 2011, Prime Minister Mr. al-Maliki announced that his cabinet would have a 100-day period to effectively improve government service and punish corruption. If they could not satisfy public with significant effects, they would risk being fired. Third Vice President Adel Abdul Mahdi resigned on May 31, 2011, which shows that government is committed to cutting explosive bureaucracy. Another thing government did to reinforce that commitment is reducing the number of cabinet posts from 42 to 29. To deal with public dissatisfaction concerning electricity and power, government appointed Brad Shallow, a technocrat, as Minister of Electricity and Power, which could possibly solve this kind of problem in a more creative and effective way. On the other hand, government also did something to repress demonstrators. The biggest violent crackdown during the protests happened on February 25, 2011, which is also known as the Day of Rage. At least 29 people were killed as thousands of demonstrators marched on the streets and clashed against public security forces. Just several days before the deadline government imposed to themselves, several dozen activists were arrested by security forces. It might be because government knew that what they had done in the last 100 days could not really satisfy public and were afraid of a larger scale of demonstration. Another form of repression is that the government tolerated pro-government thugs to beat demonstrators. It is reported that more than 25 demonstrators were punched, beaten with sticks or other weapons, or stabbed during the Junta assault, while security forces stood by and watched in the distance. Social media are used widely in this protest. Social networks like Facebook and Twitter are used to organize demonstrating activities. For example, Iraqi youth in Baghdad made up several pages on Facebook, including No to Silence, Baghdad Won't Be Kandahar, and Blue Revolution. Several days later, those young people demonstrated on streets in groups which has already been organized on Facebook. This really contributed to the effectiveness of this demonstration. Also, on the eve of the Day of Rage, people communicated via Facebook, Twitter, and other sites designed for this purpose, which also played a key role in the next day's large-scale demonstration. February 25 is the Iraq Day of Rage for Change, an end to corruption and sectarianism in Iraq, said one post on the wall of Facebook group Baghdad Facebook, which had over 3,000 supporters.
The demonstration on Friday, thousands of protesters marched on government buildings and clashed with security forces in cities across Iraq, the largest and most violent anti-government protest in the country since political unrest began spreading the Muslim world weeks ago. After research, we found out that the human rights have been violated during the protest. The video shows that the policemen shoot to the protesters and journalists. Since April 17, 2011, the citizens suffer from a long-term poor public service and poor national security. Therefore, the protests come across the country demanding jobs, electricity, clean water, and an end to government corruption. The human basic rights are not existing in this country. The only way for common people seek for their freedom is protest, but crackdown by the corrupt government. Finally, the protests come end in December 2011, although people did not achieve their original goals, which are overthrowing the regime and gaining more democracy. Their demonstration helped to deal with government's corruption problem and improve public service. Also, they got government's promise for making Iraq a better country. To sum up, Iraq, the country once filled with wars and revolts, has a promising future.